Now, okay, we are live, and I guess we should introduce ourselves. Although you were here in the last podcast, just introduce yourself to those who maybe didn't watch that one.
Yeah, what's up, people? It's Disciple from DGC for Gamers, also known as just Micah. So, looking for, been banging out that Mario Kart. I barely got any sleep last night because I played Mario Kart throughout the whole day and throughout the night. And today, all I have literally done besides play Mario Kart is shower and cook. That is it.
I have been pretty much in the same boat. As you know, I'm Mr. Red Fox or Matt Wesley, depending on who's following me, because I have some people from Player Essence who follow me. And they know me by Matt Wesley, not Red Fox, but whatever. You can call me Matt. I, too, have been playing Mario Kart 8. I downloaded mine because...
You are that impatient.
Well, not just that. When I went to buy mine, I was gonna like pay for it at GameStop and then just go and pick it up. They were like, "Oh, our pre-orders are full." I'm like, "Holy crap!" Like I heard that the Nintendo, Club Nintendo, where you can claim your free game with this game, I heard it crashed, and I'm like,
Yeah.
I'm not surprised. I mean, I got my free game. I got my free game early. Like at midnight yesterday, I wouldn't say Friday morning, but midnight for me is like that midnight of the day before. But I mean, still, it was just. I mean,
God! All I'm saying is that this game has brought me closer to the path of no life.
Yeah. And I think about how badly this game is just going to eat up my time.
Have you checked your friends list? See what everyone's doing.
I don't have a huge friend list, so like I've just basically been jumping into multiplayer games. So
okay, because on my friends list, nearly everyone's just playing Mario Kart.
Well, I mean, I'll probably expand my here's the thing. I'm not like ultra mad about like online multiplayer because basically I had my fill during the Halo 1 and 2 Unreal Tournament. I had my fill of online multiplayer. Like now, if it's not local, like I really just I mean, I'll do it, but I'm not like
I hear you. Fair enough.
Although I'm gonna say this: when Smash Bros comes out for Wii U, I'm not gonna have a life.
Yeah, when Smash Brothers comes out for Wii U, I will be laying out some cans of whoop-ass that day.
My life, my free time will be either me playing multiplayer, me playing single player, or me just in the training mode fighting like 3 other enemies at highest level possible, just training my skills, because that's how you get better at Smash Brothers. You have to constantly train your skills in unfair situations.
Yeah, pretty much. I think one of my toughest situations that I'm trying to train myself in Melee at the moment is being a character like Link and taking on Fox and Falco on level 9 on the same team.
Now see that, like for me, I always preferred using the medium and heavy characters. So Link taking on multiple opponents is no problem for me. What gets me is when I have to play as any light character except Kirby. Like if I have to play as what's his name, Jigglypuff or Pikachu or Pichu, like any of those light characters except for Kirby, I get my butt kicked. I mean, not like it's not like I'll still win, but it's like I'm not as good with those characters as I am with the other roster of characters, primarily because I friggin' hate Pokemon in Smash Brothers. Like I have Pokemon in the game, I like Pokemon in the game, but in Smash Brothers, like I'm like Pikachu, get the I beat up people with Pikachu. They're like, oh, I like Pikachu. I'm like, yeah, he's gonna die today. many times.
For me in Smash Brothers, my best characters are always the ones that never go up in the Smash tier. That are always on the lower end.
I hate tiers. They are so annoying. Because the thing is that I've seen people who are like, oh, so and so's a low tier character, and then they're playing a so-called high tier character, and they get owned by the low tier character. I'm like, at this point, it comes about skill and weight. Like the skill of the player and how much that character weighs. Because I'm going to tell you right now, if someone is even halfway decent with a heavy character, I don't care.
Do you know how annoying it is to knock them off?
You can't. I mean, that's the only reason I kind of like Kirby, is that he does have, for a light character, he has some attacks that can actually hurt you. Heavier characters, but Pikachu, Jigglypuff, I mean, all of their knockouts are really specialized. Like, you really have to
be in the right place at the right time.
Exactly. Like Jigglypuff, her one-hit knockout, and I know people are like, well, there's a male Jigglypuff. Look, if I see a male character acting that flouncy and frilly, then I'll consider a male Jigglypuff, but they're all female to me. But they use her sleep attack, which is like an instant knockout, but you got to be up close, and it's a pain to really pull it off well.
Hello?
Yeah. Yeah, you
Sorry,
heard me?
you kind of went quiet there. Yeah, I can hear you.
No, I said it's a pain to pull it off well. But Mario Kart 8, back to what we're talking, Mario Kart 8 is the start. I mean, like I said in our last podcast, Nintendo's going to open up a can of whoop ass on everybody, and they gave us forewarning. They advertised Mario Kart 8. They let everybody know, look, May 30th.
It's coming.
Ass whooping time. Get ready.
You know what I find funny with Mario Kart? Nintendo are actually ingenious. Nintendo have basically given everyone that has Mario Kart an excuse to spam YouTube with Mario Kart 8 videos. Tell me that is not an ingenious move for free marketing.
Well, you know what? You know who I think did it?
Who?
You know who I think? I think it was all Iwata.
I wonder what makes you say that. I thought the man was meant to be fired.
What makes me say that? Because people always underestimate Iwata. Like, here's the thing. Iwata looks like a really nice guy, and people look at his awkward kind of English and diction, and they think, oh, Iwata. I'm like, you need to understand something about Iwata, okay? I watch a show, I've watched a show called Game Center CX, which is like, it's subtitled, and you watch Iwata when he's speaking Japanese, it's a completely different person, okay?
Oh, wow.
He's like he's a completely different person. I'm like, do you honestly think? I mean, and here's the thing: Iwata isn't like a lot of these Western CEOs who some bank man who never actually made games, or they made games like 30, 40 years ago.
Started off as a developer.
He started up as a developer. He made some games, but he's no stranger to pulling a struggling company around. Like, people forget this dude was in charge of HAL Laboratory when they were about to go bankrupt. I mean, really bankrupt. I mean, like, they were struggling. They couldn't pull out Earthbound. He turned that shit around, man.
Well, that's the thing. People don't realize Iwata is king when it comes to turning the situation around. I mean, look at what he did with the 3DS.
Yeah, I mean, 3DS. Remember the GameCube? People
so, despite the GameCube's low numbers, he still managed to put it to profitability.
Yeah, and he's gonna do the same for the Wii U.
In fact, the GameCube has currently the highest software attach rate in the history of all gaming.
Oh yeah. I never heard of that about that, but it wouldn't surprise me because
the attach rate is 10 to 1. For every one GameCube, the attachment rate for every one GameCube that sold, on average, 10 games were sold with it.
It does not surprise me because look, we love our we love our systems. We love the games for our systems. We'll defend our system. And here's people tried to say that the Vita has a high attach rate, but I mean, like, what games are coming to it?
It's getting some decent Japanese support.
Yeah, but I'm talking about major first party. Like, okay, if you look at a GameCube, that we had Smash Brothers Melee. We had Wind Waker. We had Metroid Prime 1 and 2. We had it ended. The GameCube's life ended on a fantastic note with Twilight Princess. I mean, you know, and they gave us perhaps one of the best side characters I have ever seen in a Zelda game ever.
Midna.
Midna. I mean, and you know, everyone's like, well, I like Fee. I'm like, look, Midna was like the best. I mean, she was just, and I'm not talking as someone.
She was the one. She's the one that had the most personality.
Yeah, I mean, she really, like, you really felt like
In fact,
you
when
know,
you think about Twilight Princess, the main character in Twilight, the game was basically centered around her. She was basically the
yeah.
main character.
Well, she was the most important character,
Zelda pretty much took a back seat that game.
as she should have. Look, she saw that her people were getting their butts kicked. The Hylian Guard, they were, you know, they were getting messed up, and she was like, well, oh well, token resistance over. I give up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but I tell you one thing I did notice about Twilight Princess, and every other Zelda that's had the Gorons in it, no one ever conquers the Gorons with just physical strength, because you have to be a fool to fight rock people.
Exactly.
The Zoras, yeah, we can take them, but rock people, no.
Mm-hmm.
Which is why.
Did you notice how muscly they made the Gorons look in that game?
Oh yeah, they're all like sumo wrestlers.
Them sumo wrestlers, they were like sumo wrestlers with biceps.
Yeah, they were, except for that one dude you had to fight who was like Master Blaster from
Mm-hmm.
what was that?
Small yet deadly.
No, he was. This was the dude who you had to fight in order to get the bow. Like, you take off his mask and he has a baby face. Like, a baby face?
No, it was that patriarch at the end. Tell me that was not the Goron version of the Hulk.
Yeah, he was kind of cool, but I mean, it was that bug that cursed him. Now I'll tell you my favorite dungeon in that game, Twilight Princess, was I really liked the I liked the dungeon where you get the spinning top thing.
Oh, I love that. I love the boss battle.
Yeah, the boss battle was really cool. I'm like, wow, that is a cool boss.
Mm-hmm.
And they had the cool music and everything. But but yeah, the GameCube had some really, really great games that really illustrated how much of an awesome roster it had. You know, a lot of people forget that the GameCube had some really great stuff. Now, it wasn't always, you know, it wasn't always perfect, but it was great when it needed to be. And we got some shovelware on there, but it wasn't like, oh my god, insane shovelware.
No, whatever software was on the GameCube, more or less, was quality.
Yeah, more or less. So I guess we'll get into the. So we're agreed. So I guess we'll give our final little bit of views about Mario Kart 8. You want to go first?
It's the game's addictive. I've been playing it non-stop. I played it all throughout yesterday. I've been playing it all throughout today. Literally, all I've done aside from playing Mario Kart is cook and shower. Like I've just been playing it all day. I mean, to me, it represents what gaming is all about, which is just to have fun at the end of the day. I mean, there is a quality experience on the 8th gen consoles that is out right now, like Mario Kart. And honestly, people say the Wii U is underpowered and stuff like that. I don't know a 8th gen game that looks as good as Mario Kart.
What? How dare you? You know Mario Kart dips to 59 frames per second.
Yeah, whatever.
It's in their order for that.
Yeah, but 59 frames, yet the human eye can never see beyond 25. So what's the point?
I'm being facetious, of course.
Obvious,
no, when I heard about that, I was just like, what type of stupidness is this?
Why are you making a gripe over the amount of games that drop in like 20 frames or more, and you're making a gripe over this game that drops in 1 frame?
Look, all I'm going to say is this.
1 frame that the human eye can't even notice.
All I'm going to say is this. If you can tell the difference, if you can physically tell the difference between if you can tell the difference between 60 and 59 frames, you need to go into the Olympics or go into the military and become an award-winning sniper, because you have that type of eyesight. And look, I got 4 eyes, and I can't tell the difference between 60 and 59 frames per second. I can't look like if I was Digital Foundry, I wouldn't have even printed that. I would have been like, no, sorry, no. This is
the thing I find funny. It's just that Nintendo is having such a come up of recently that people are finding any excuse to try and put them down. I mean, have you seen some of the excuses people say? I mean, like people say there's Mario Kart is racist because there's not enough color diversity. Like
really?
You can't,
you can create your own me. I just unlocked my
give it
me
whatever
yesterday.
race, and give it whatever race you want, and yet
here's
there's not enough. Furthermore, you're talking about not enough color diversity in Mario Kart. Majority of the characters aren't even human.
Well, yeah, they are. I mean, okay, you have Luigi and Mario. Princess Peach, who they imply she's human, but here's the thing. If she's the princess of the Mushroom Kingdom, and her people are all mushrooms, does that mean that she herself could just be a more human-like member of a human-looking Mushroom Kingdom member?
Who knows?
But, but I guess I'll give my impressions about Mario Kart 8. I think that this game is the perfect intro. It's the perfect intro to the Mario Kart franchise for people who haven't been away for a long time like me, because the driving is intuitive. You can pick up a lot just from racing. You can unlock a lot of stuff in multiplayer. You can unlock a lot of stuff just from playing. This game makes you into a better kart racer just by playing it. Graphically, it's superb. I agree with a few people who said there's no way this could be on the Wii U. It's definitely on the PS4. No way this could be on the PS. No way this could be on the Wii U. The Wii U's underpowered, says everyone who's been saying that and knows absolutely nothing about actual,
technology.
Yeah, technology. But I think that a lot of people I think that Mario Kart is the start of the Wii U resurgence. Now, I think that Mario Kart's going to move a lot of units, but I think that what Nintendo's going to do at E3, I'm sure there's going to be some games at E3 that, I know that people have been just naming those games will move units. Well, not just that. I think there's going to be tons of games that, okay, there's the list that have been leaking. There's the list that they've been like, well, this could come to the Wii U. Yeah, that's nice and that's fine and dandy, but I'm pretty sure there's some stuff that, Nintendo, because Nintendo always has some stuff that you just don't know about. No one knows about, and I think it's going to be like it was last year, where Iwata's going to be like, oh, and you can get this from the eShop right now. I'm like, damn, Iwata, that's smooth. That is smooth, dude. But now to get into E3. So, since our other guest isn't here, I guess we can just, you want to start with Sony and then go to, we'll start with Sony and then go to Microsoft first.
Well, we start with the Wii first, of course.
So Sony, yeah.
Yeah. Don't get me wrong, I have nothing against Sony. But they've fallen from grace.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but the PS4 is not the PS4 is not living up to be a good representation of what Sony's greatness once was. And all I can see Sony doing is, giving us more tech demos, showing us more third-party games, making out like they're exclusive to their system when they're not. Obviously showing that the Vita doesn't have any support. I think we're going to get another game. We may get another game delayed. I don't know, because Drive Club and The Order have already been delayed.
Wait a second. Don't forget they're going to try out The Last Guardian. At this point, I have, that game has been in development for longer than Duke Nukem Forever at this point. So,
I mean, I
12 years?
For me, every Sony conference I watch is boring. I usually just skim through every section just to see what games they announce and then end it there, because I cannot sit through a 2-hour Sony conference. I will actually fall. It doesn't help that I'm from the UK as well, and Sony always starts their conference late. So by the time it's time for me to watch it where I am, it's like 2 in the morning. I'm sorry, I ain't giving up sleep to watch a Sony conference at 2 in the morning. That ain't happening. I'd rather just wait till it's not live anymore and then just
watch the
and just skim to the parts that I need to skim to, like when they're gonna show the games and stuff like that, because they just I don't know what it is with Sony, man. I'm not expecting anything from them this. I'm not expecting much from them this year. I'm expecting it to be just a more updated version of E3 2013, which was just an updated version of E3 2012, which was just an updated version of E3 2011, which was just an updated version of E3 2010, and you get the picture. So that's all I'm expecting from them, in all honesty.
But there's one caveat though. Sony doesn't have the Microsoft, doesn't have the Xbox One to troll anymore. So this E3 better be about some games that are coming out like this year. Like Sony needs some high quality games that are coming out this year, and I don't mean sports games. I don't mean the atypical EA regurgitated garbage that's just a slightly upgraded engine from last gen. I mean, they need some major first party stuff that's coming out this year, and I don't mean knack 2.
I mean, despite what the first Knack was, I believe that if they properly worked carefully on Knack, they can make that has the potential to be a really, really good game.
Knack could be like because Sony doesn't go for like intergenerational flagship franchises. They don't. They basically they run with a franchise until it's no longer useful, and then they throw it under the bus to get rid of it. But for the PS4, if they really worked on Knack, they could get it to the point where it was at least something to be happy about. Now, of course, it's never going to be Mario or anything like that, but it could definitely be something.
It has the potential to stand out in its own right, in a good way.
Yeah.
But it's down to Sony if they can make that happen or not, at the end of the day. But and to be honest, I don't like, and to think, out of all things they want to do, they just to try and promote themselves, they want to actually have their E3 conference in theaters. Like, I'm sorry, I don't care if that's.
I think that's their sorry ass attempt to copy Nintendo.
Look,
but
I don't even want to watch it in my own house.
Yeah.
What makes you think I'm going to go and watch it in theaters?
I said the same thing in a comment section someplace. I was like, this is the stupidest idea I've ever heard. I mean, who's going to get in their car, drive all the way to a movie theater? Because all of these are in weird places. Like, they're not in, like, mainstream style places. Who's going to drive all the way?
Sony can't afford the mainstream style places.
Well, not just that. I'm like, and people are like, it's free. I'm like, yeah, but Sony has to pay these theaters for the revenue they're losing from people who would be going to see movies there. Why? I mean, is Sony truly going to unleash something so earth-shattering that you'd want to sit 2 to 3 hours in a theater not even watching a movie?
I don't know. Maybe they'll announce their own porn network for all those people who like to go on Playroom.
The Sony greatness awaits and waits and waits.
Oh God! I cannot see myself picking up a PS4 this generation. I really can't. I plan on getting a PS3, but
Sorry, go ahead.
No, I'm done. I'm done, because if I keep going on, it's just going to be more.
Well, I think that Sony's going to have to. I think they're going to have to do 3 things if they want to have a useful conference. I didn't say successful because I think that even if half of what's been leaked about Nintendo is true, Nintendo's just going to be making everyone their bitch at E3. But I think that I think if they want to have a successful conference, Sony's going to have to show some games. And I'm talking about like more than just indie games and shit that could have been on the PS3 or Steam. They're going to have to show some major either AA or AAA titles. They're going to have at least, if they show 10 or 15, at least 6 of those games. If it's 15, 6 or 7 of them are going to have to be coming out this year, and soon. Like if they mention, like if they have 6, like one of them's going to have to be coming out July or August, like ASAP. If they can't do this, they're just going to be embarrassing themselves yet again, because Sony, you know, I mean, people like to put Sony on a pedestal, but in reality, they're the weakest one of the 3.
Yeah.
Because I mean, Microsoft doesn't really have doesn't have a bevy of first party games to really, you know, say, hey, look at what we can do. But what they do have is really it's really strong. Like Fable, before they ran it into the ground, was really strong. Forza, you know, they want to keep that strong. Halo, they want to keep that strong. What they do have, they want to keep strong. Which, you know, I hope they do. I hope, you know, which we can segue now to Microsoft. I hope that Microsoft announced that they sold Rare back to Nintendo, but that's a pipe dream. I don't think Nintendo would want Rare right now.
To be honest, the reason why they even got rid of Rare in the first, they saw what Rare was becoming, which is why they were happy to sell the shares that they had in Rare, because most of the original developers that worked for Rare, that started off working for Rare, that created Rare basically, had already left to start a new studio, and I can't remember what the studio was called, but
they were leaving.
No, they had left and created a new studio, but I can't remember what the studio was called. They were the ones who created Time Splitters.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, I know that studio shut down now, but I know what you're talking about.
But they're not shut down. They're absorbed by Crytek.
Oh, God. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I've played so many Crytek games, it's not even funny. Like Serious Sam.
To be honest, I actually like Crysis 1 and Crysis Warhead, but Crysis 2 is garbage. I haven't played Crysis 3, but Crysis 2 was garbage.
To tell you the truth, I hate games that really focus way too much on graphics, because in my experience, a game that says, "Oh, the game looks gorgeous," well, how's the story? The game looks, I mean, so many pixels. Well, how's the gameplay and the character development?
The thing, you know, as much as I like Crysis graphics and their physics engine, because it's to be honest, it's more the physics engine than the graphics than anything that I like from Crysis. But the actual game, the storyline, and the gameplay is actually really, really good. It's very on the mind.
The alien suit that like you upgrade.
Because of how Crysis is set out. Because of how Crysis 1 and Crysis Warhead is set out, where things are more open, you got more freedom to choose what you want to do. Like that suit, not even just the suit. You can fully customize the attachments on your weapons, and any attachment you get to keep it throughout the entire game. So
it's almost RPG-ish with loot, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. It's like first-person shoot. It's a sandbox first-person shooter with RPG elements, and you know, you've got a lot of freedom to choose how you want to go through a level. You've got so much freedom to choose how you want to get through a level at the end of it.
So you can choose to be ultra stealthy with your bow and arrow, or is that only in the third one they have the bow and arrow?
Only in the third one they have the bow and arrow, but you can be very stealthy in Crysis, and the AI in the game is very good as well, because like, you know, they respond to everything that goes on in your environment. Crysis 2 basically nerfed all of that. Nerfed everything and just basically made it. They basically made it what Call of Duty Advanced Warfare is going to be now.
Actually, to tell you the truth, Advanced Warfare with those mech suits looks kind of cool to me. I'm not gonna lie. This might like I almost bought Ghost. I almost bought Ghost. I was like,
the funny thing is, I used to always say when I was playing through, I used to always say about Crysis 2, this game is so dreadful. This is basically Call of Duty Advanced Warfare or Future Warfare, and look at what they've done now.
I don't like. Here's the thing. I'm not really into first-person shooters, but if they let me play Call of Duty with if they let me play Call of Duty with the Wiimote, I'm done. I'm done.
Mm-hmm.
But speaking about Microsoft, I don't like. Here's the thing. I think at their conference, they've already started to move ahead on what they need to do with lowering the price of the Xbox One and dropping the Kinect. So, I mean, at this point, it's going to be about the games. I'm just praying whatever they do, it's not another abused and neglected and mutated Rare IP. Because I grew up on Rare IPs, and I don't want to see another one get ruined. Hopefully, knock on wood. So I don't, I think that Microsoft is going to have to, they're going to have to come out with some games. Although the thing is that Microsoft has the money to pay people to make some really good games for them.
And the thing is, so, they've already got quite a decent start because they've got their Halo anniversary pack that's meant to be coming.
Yeah, and the Fable.
Okay, they're doing that as well.
Well, I mean, either that. No, that's only for the Xbox 360. Sorry, I'm sorry. Okay.
But yeah, they've got Halo 4, which they've got Halo 5, which they're going to announce. They've got Sunset Overdrive. They've got that Project Spark game, which we haven't really heard much about of recent. So they've got a decent potential. They've got decent potential for this year's E3 already. Well, obviously they haven't got Nintendo's potential right now because Nintendo's potential is just like God knows where. But
well, I mean, people buy a console for its exclusives, and Sony and Microsoft kind of suffer from third-party fatigue. And I mean, Sony and Microsoft are guilty of this, of saying, well, this is only coming to our system. No, it's not. It's on PC too and the other system. What's wrong with you people? But in this regards, this year at least, Microsoft can say, we've got these exclusive games. Although, that Titanfall, the deals they made with EA for those exclusive titles, they got the short end of the stick on that one.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're gonna money hat this for you guys, so you don't have any risk in making it, but you have to put it on our console. And now, EA is like, oh shit, we're not making enough money on this. Let's put it on everything else. Oh, except for Nintendo console, because fuck Nintendo. If you're EA, that's EA's idea behind. Nintendo, well, screw you. You're Nintendo, screw you. You don't deserve to play games
that are broken.
Yeah. And frankly speaking, well, the thing is like, I would love Plants vs. Zombie 2 on the 3DS. Plants vs. Zombie was on the DS. It sold relatively well, but they want to move to the mobile market.
Want to make money. You don't realize that by now.
They want to milk the hell out of the franchise and charge people an arm and a leg. So,
I think there is going to be one thing that saves Sony this year at their E3, and well, two things actually, and that's Final Fantasy 15 and Kingdom Hearts 4.
Yeah, but those aren't coming out till 2015. Like being very charitable with that guesstimation, or 2016. Right. And from what we heard from Square Enix, apparently it's going to be on the Xbox One as well. From what I've heard from people talking about it.
No, yeah, it is actually going to be on the Xbox One. But
it's going to be on. It might be. I mean, I don't know about Final Fantasy 15, although considering it started its life as a.
Both of them are going to be on the Xbox One, which makes no sense to me that they're on the Xbox One but not on the Wii U.
Well, what I was about to say was that Final Fantasy 15 started its life as a Final Fantasy 2 as a PS2 game, and then moved over to a PS3 game, and now it's going to be on the PS4, and it's probably going to be on last-gen consoles too. So at this point in time, why in the? I mean, it's probably going to be on the Wii U as well, especially Kingdom Hearts 3.
Well, see, here's the thing where I give the advantage to Sony is that the fan base on the Xbox doesn't really care too much for games like Kingdom Hearts or Final Fantasy. So, whereas you know, the more dedicated Sony fans, and I mean the ones from like that are still with them, even up to
PS1,
the
PS2,
PlayStation 1 and PlayStation 2 days, you know, they're going to, you know, they actually care about games like Kingdom Hearts and Final Fantasy and stuff. So, I give Sony that advantage on that point. But other than that, I can't really see. And if they announce a new God of War game as well. But other than that, I can't really see what Sony can do to really push themselves forward in terms of their game library. I mean, and anyway, and you know, for all those who probably say, oh, but they're announcing Uncharted. Yeah, Uncharted's not going to cut it. Uncharted is like a 5 minutes of fame game. It has 5 minutes of fame, and then nobody cares about it afterwards.
Well, thing about Uncharted is that it's like, despite what it's what Sony fanboys always say. They're like, well, we have great IPs. Sony's IPs are niche within of themselves. Okay, like not everyone's gonna like God of War. Not everyone's gonna like Uncharted. Not everyone likes Jak and Daxter. Not everyone liked Ratchet and Clank. I mean, some people will only buy a PS3 or Xbox One for the third-party games. They don't really care about the first-party games. So it's like, you know,
all of PlayStation's best-selling games throughout every generation have always been third-party games.
Yeah, and that's money out of Sony's pocket. And if you add on the fact they're also money hatting a lot of these games, that's money going out of their pocket into EA and Activision and all these other third-party companies, and they're not seeing any real
return.
Yeah.
And that is why PlayStation has been Sony's cancer since the beginning.
Well, I won't say it was just PlayStation.
Obviously, there's other aspects of Sony to take into consideration, but for me, the main thing that has been the cancer for Sony out of everything has been PlayStation, simply because they have had to bleed money from other divisions to keep it going.
Well, I think the thing that really hurt Sony was that they did Sony just wanted to crush Nintendo, right? Because Nintendo wouldn't go with that fool's deal.
Yeah.
You know, oh well, if you put games on the console we build with you and it uses our technology, which was discs at the time, because like I said in our last podcast, Sony pushes formats. That's what they do. They push formats. They push a service. They don't. Like, Sony at heart doesn't really care about the games. They care about selling you a format. They're like, okay, you buy our Walkman, that's so that people have to use our technology. Like, they're pushing the PS4, and they're putting out these two new services, PS Now and PS Streaming and PS Plus and all that stuff.
Sony
they want to push that service.
Sony Music and all of that stuff.
Yeah, they want that service. But you know, I mean, I think Sony's gonna have to. They're gonna have to. You know, Microsoft is gonna have to bring the games. Sony is gonna have to bring the games. Of course, how many of these games for both of these companies are going to be delayed until 2015?
To be honest, Microsoft hasn't really got a track record of delaying games. It's more Sony. Like, people always say Nintendo delays games. Yeah, Nintendo does delay games, but
they don't give their games hard release dates.
But so, when Sony delays games, it's like they're delayed indefinitely.
Yeah, and you don't hear anything about it. Like, we haven't heard jack about The Last Guardian.
Nope.
Not a damn thing. We, you know, nothing. We've heard nothing about The Last Guardian. And like, not only do they delay games, they'll just abandon franchises. Just abandon them. Like, we haven't heard Jack from Jak and Daxter. We haven't heard Jack from we had one Ratchet and Clank game that was just abysmal.
Which one was that?
The last one they made.
Into the Nexus.
I think that was it. Yeah.
I haven't tried it yet.
Like for some reason, their games just don't have that. Ratchet and Clank has lost a lot of its charm. Like, okay, let me put it this way. Like my favorite Ratchet and Clank game is Ratchet and Clank Going Commando, the second one. That one expanded upon the first Ratchet and Clank like exponentially. Like huge worlds to explore, space combat, awesome weapons, and all that awesome stuff. And the problem is that like Ratchet and Clank games have been getting smaller. Like they treat them like they're like tiny, they treat them like Nintendo treats Pushmo or Crashmo or Pushmo World, or like a little diversion to kind of tide you over till your big stuff comes out. And I'm like, this used to be one of your big franchises. Why don't you give these people money to make a huge Ratchet and Clank game?
Well, I don't know Sony's logic of thinking. I can't even really class them as a Japanese company anymore, because they're not Japanese anymore. No. Right down to the fact that the PlayStation 4 was designed by Americans.
Well, it's like I told someone. The PS4, Sony has become what real Nintendo fans don't want Nintendo to do. Sony has become ultra westernized and given up a lot of their Japanese identity. And because of this, Sony is suffering now.
Exactly. Basically, Sony are doing what Sega did in the past.
Yeah.
Sony are basically repeating Sega's history.
Yeah.
And we all know how that ended for Sega.
Yeah. We all know how Sega, everyone's like, oh, Sega. But, Sega, that's what happens when you let Western companies take over your stuff, because that's just not smart.
Exactly.
I wouldn't let those people just, I wouldn't let them do that to me, but, oh well. Sony just wanted to destroy Nintendo, so. And, look, that Nintendo curse is hard on a dude. That Nintendo curse. Because every company that screws over Nintendo, they don't do too well in the long run.
Nope. But right now, in terms of Microsoft, I feel, like I said, they're in a position where they can bring out some good stuff.
Yeah.
They're in a position. Right now, Microsoft and Nintendo are in a position to be what basically what the SNES and the Genesis was. Obviously Xbox One is no Genesis, but no. It will be, the Xbox One is in a position to be the home for the third party, and the Wii U is in a position to be the home for great first party. And that's where I can see the harmony working out. Whereas Sony are just kind of like stuck in the middle trying to keep up with both of them, and it's just not working.
Yeah. Well, I tell you what I see happening. I see Microsoft and Sony basically desperately Sony trying to spend and compete with Microsoft, and it's not going to work. And I think another plate's going to drop for Sony, and they're going to have another loss. And I think that the fanboys are going to say, well, there's nothing wrong, and I'm going to say, well, yeah, okay, you keep on dreaming. So I guess that takes us to Nintendo at their E3. What do you think Nintendo's going to do? And you can wildly speculate.
Strike down the hammer of Thor and just destroy everything.
Just to be like, look, Iwata's going to come out and he's going to do a backflip, and Reggie's gonna take off the shades and Frieza make a bitch.
No, Nintendo are just in a position to dominate at the moment. I mean, like, just from what they've got lined up from last year that they announced, and then the fact that they haven't really announced anything new. I know to mention all the new information we've been getting on games like Hyrule Warriors and on Smash Brothers. The fact that they just revealed Pokemon game and that new GameCube adapter as well, GameCube controller adapter.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Nintendo's in a position to just whoop some ass this E3.
Well, I was about to say this when we were talking about Microsoft and Sony. Microsoft, like, people are like complaining. Microsoft and Sony are going through the same thing the Wii U did last year. You know, they're going through the same thing. I mean, it's hitting everybody, and people don't seem to oh, well, this guy has no game. I'm like, look, you the one bought a system. At least with the Nintendo, I know I'm getting quality games. With Sony, it's a roll of the dice.
Well, has anyone realized this with the Wii U? The Wii U is basically the most backwards compatible console to ever release. You have literally access to every single form of game. You have literally access to games from every single Nintendo home console apart from the GameCube.
Yeah.
And then on top of that, you have access to some of Sega's old consoles, the Neo Geo, and the TurboGrafx 16, and the Commodore 64.
Yeah.
So you've got backwards compatibility. You've got access to games from consoles that weren't even part of Nintendo's system.
Yeah. I mean, I can't, like, I mean, the thing is just, like, a lot of people don't seem to realize that, you know, like, for me, backwards compatibility is important. I mean, I don't want a console. Like, here's the thing: I build up huge gaming collections. I don't want to sit there and have to realize, oh, my system. I have to say goodbye to my system. That's where I really think Microsoft really bit themselves in the butt with not having backwards compatibility on the Xbox One.
Especially with how extensive their library was.
Exactly. I'm like, what? Who? I mean, instead of focusing on the cloud, dude, you should have been like, you know what? We should make this shit backwards compatible.
Yeah, because they have such a massive library for the Xbox 360. Their biggest library they've had.
Yeah, I mean, it's huge. It's got a lot of I mean, the 360 has a lot of games, but I mean, and I mean, and the same. I'm gonna say the same thing about PlayStation 3. Look, they have all these games, and not even your PSN stuff is compatible with.
Now, you see, if the PS4 was backwards compatible, I would have reason to buy one because of the fact that I'd rather have the newer console than have to buy a PS3 to get than have to get the last gen console to buy all the best games that are on there.
Well, I mean, that could be the case, but I mean, I don't know if that's true or not. It could be the case. It could not be the case. What I do know is that.
No, I'm just saying that because I want to get a PS3 for all the late Japanese support and stuff. That. But if PS4 was backwards compatible, then I'd have an excuse to get a PS4.
Well, I'll be frank with you. The only reason I still have my PS3 and I haven't traded it in and gotten the money and just gone on a Wii U buying spree, because I'm cheap. I could use my own money, but I'm not playing my PS3. I'm not even watching Netflix on it. Is because I know that Persona 5 is coming out and that new Tales game. Like, if those games weren't coming, I'd get rid of this thing because I'm not even playing it. But back to Nintendo. I think Nintendo's going to show. I mean, they're obviously going to show footage from the next Zelda game, and it's going to blow people out the water because.
I mean, you saw what happened with Twilight Princess reveal.
I saw it. I remember watching. I was like, Twilight Princess. I'm done. I got that when I got my Wii. I got Twilight Princess day one.
I think so many people did because I did as well. I was more concerned about having Twilight Princess than I was the Wii.
Because I needed Twilight Princess. I was like, I gotta have this game. I gotta have Twilight Princess. Because that game was just so. it was just Twilight. Like Twilight Princess was like all the stuff they wanted to do with Ocarina of Time.
Yeah, basically, and this is what I don't like with this is what I don't like with the Zelda fanboys. You complained to say that after Wind Waker, you complained and said that you wanted a more realistic Zelda akin to Ocarina of Time. Nintendo gave it to you. They took everything that was in Ocarina of Time and made it better.
Yeah.
And then you still bitched and said, "Oh, Twilight Princess is rubbish. It pales in comparison."
I don't know who said that. Twilight Princess is one of the best-selling Zeldas.
I'm sorry. I don't care how much hate from Zelda fanboys I get for this. Twilight Princess is better than Ocarina of Time. Get your nostalgic head.
It is.
Get your nostalgic head out your nostalgic ass and realize that the two of them are basically the same game. The only thing is Twilight Princess takes everything that was in Ocarina of Time and improves upon it so much more.
Exactly. Like basically Twilight Princess is like, okay, like we didn't have the technology to make this way when to make this game this type of way on the N64. So despite the technical wizards that Nintendo programmers are, so we're gonna give you Twilight Princess to like all the stuff you always wanted in Ocarina. Like Ocarina of Time, you save the Zoras. It's like, well, it'll unfreeze eventually. It's like, every place else I go, things get turned back to right, but this place is still a frozen piece of garbage. Why? They fix everything in Ocarina of Time. The game's bigger, it's gorgeous, it has awesome side quests. Castle Town has never been so alive.
Mm-hmm,
I mean,
exactly. People say there was this is what I find sad about Zelda fans. They say that there was more side games in Ocarina of Time. Which part? The fishing was more in depth. You had the game where you can fly up the waterfall. You had you had the river rafting. You had snowboarding. You had roll goal. You had.
And I'll tell you this much: that snowboarding. Mwah! That snowboarding was sweet. The amount
of times I went back and done that snowboarding course.
The snowboarding was just like, and the characters in Ocarina of Time had so much character.
Mm-hmm. I mean, not as much character as they did in Twilight Prince, not in Skyward Sword, but yeah, I get what you mean.
No, I mean, I'm not saying every character had character, but like, okay, that Yeti and his wife. I mean, that was just so,
unexpected.
It was so touching. I'm like, this dude just wants his wife to get better. I mean,
But the thing I like about Twilight Princess is that even though you knew what the typical story was, everything that happened in everything leading up to that in Twilight Princess was so unexpected.
Yeah. Like, I thought when I first saw Zant, I was like, oh, that's Ganon. I was like, no, it's not Ganon. I'm like, wait a second, that's not Ganon. This dude fights totally like nothing like Ganon.
And you find out it was just one of Ganon's puppets.
Yeah, that was not cool to find out he was one of Ganon's puppets, but it was so satisfying killing Zant. It wasn't even. I'm not even joking. I'm like, oh, he's finally dead. He's done. He's finished.
But yeah, man, I mean, going back to the whole E3 thing. I mean, Nintendo's gonna knock it out of the park this year. I mean, just the fact that they're revealing Zelda alone, that's enough.
That would be enough, but it's gonna be a stream. They're gonna be. I know they're probably gonna be talking about what's the name of that awesome Hyrule Warriors.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll tell you what would make Hyrule Warriors a total win for me. 2 characters. Give me Ganondorf, but not like. Give me Ganon, not like the tall redhead Ganon. I want to be the blue pig with the pitchfork. Give him his theme music from Link to the Past, and give me adult Midna as those 2 as playable characters. I'm done. I'm done. That's all I need. I just look. To see the look on those Hyrule soldiers when a dude comes through and no weapon you have is having any effect on them, that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah, man, that's gonna be. They've got it locked up for this year. And the good thing, people keep on saying, oh, they're not having a comments and everything. The good thing about them doing a stream, having it pre-record, the good thing about them having a digital stream is that they don't have to worry about any of those technical embarrassments
Yeah.
that happen at E3.
Yeah. They can control the message. And I think that's what this is all about. I think Nintendo got tired of people hijacking what Nintendo wanted to say, wanted to show, and changing the message up, or you know, poo-pooing on Nintendo because they don't like Nintendo, you know. And if you don't like Nintendo, that's your business, but don't talk junk about it.
And don't try and force the world not to like them just because you don't like them.
Yeah. I mean, you know, like I was talking with someone, they're like, oh, Nintendo has been missing. Nintendo betrayed me with the Wii U. I'm like,
betrayed you? When did they have allegiance to you?
I'm like, well, first of all, look, what was Nintendo? Okay, Nintendo innovates, okay? Like, I know a lot of people say this, well, they don't have, look, Nintendo innovates. They're the market leader. Nintendo does something, the others do stuff in response to what they did. That's why Microsoft tried to cram the Kinect 2.0 down people's throats. They really wanted to be, they wanted the Kinect, they wanted the Xbox One to be the Wii of this generation.
I mean, right down to the design of the console, look at it, it looks like a giant Wii.
But unfortunately, they made two very big mistakes. First of all, that thing was too damn expensive. and second of all, like, here's the thing. The Wii worked because it was simple technology that worked. I went to my friend's house, played a ton of Kinect-only games, and I can tell you right now, the Kinect 2.0 is better than the original Kinect. It's still not great, you know. It's still kind of
what it is with video games. Not like Kinect is something that will be good in the future. Like what it is now, with the way video games are now, there needs to be a balance of conventional control methods with innovation, and that's what the Wii remote basically was.
Yeah, I mean, you know, yeah, it has the stylus, it has all that stuff, but then they have the more traditional method. I mean, I know people like, I don't understand the gamepad. I'm like, look, if you don't understand a tablet controller, I don't know what to say to you.
Get out. Get out.
I mean, look, let me put it this way.
Put it this way, my 10-year-old, my 10-year-old little sister can understand how to use it. My autistic brother understands how to use it. What excuse do you have?
Exactly. Like here's all I'm going to say about it is this, okay? If I can use, for all intents and purposes, if I can basically play a game, if I can play Wind Waker, Super Mario Galaxy, like someone calls me and I can talk to them while playing it, or if I have to go to the bathroom or something, or you know, I can get in my bed and play Super Mario 3D World from the gamepad, and I'm playing a console-style game in the most comfortable position humanly possible. That's next-gen gaming to me, baby.
Exactly.
I do not need games so real that it's like I'm looking at a photograph or an actual movie. I don't need those types of graphics. What I need is a way to play a game that's convenient, easy, and not murder on my wallet. The Wii U is energy efficient. It's powerful enough. You know, it has it's getting a robust online. I said getting. It's not there yet, but you know what? It's head and shoulders above what it was on the Wii. So
exactly.
You know, it's robust comparatively speaking.
Furthermore, it's the best value for money.
Oh yeah, $300 gets you a console that plays all your Wii games. It plays all your Wii games. It's gonna get GameCube controller support. It's compatible with all the Wii eShop games.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know,
and it always comes with a game.
Oh yes, and most of the time it does come with a game.
And if you get the Mario Kart bundle, that's 2 games.
It's 2 games, yeah. I got Mario Kart. I got my download code for Pikmin 3, which I was gonna buy. I was always like, you know, I'm gonna buy Pikmin 3. I'm gonna buy Pikmin 3. But now I'm like, I have no excuse not to get Pikmin 3. Mm-hmm. Because now I get it for free, which is the best price. So for $60 you get 2 games. That's insane.
Mm-hmm. Can't argue with that.
So I guess now that we've tackled Nintendo, you want to dive into the smaller offerings, like maybe from Ubisoft, EA, and such.
Okay, I'll wrap them up fairly quick. Um, I mean, is Konami doing a conference?
Uh, if they are, I have no idea why. They have nothing to show. Okay,
Okay.
they're going to show us another demo for a game. So, since they got such a good idea with the Phantom Pain, they show us a demo for the next Castlevania. But the first they're going to release a demo for $20 called Bloody Tears, and you can play, and then they'll release the
Yeah.
rest of the game in 2017.
No, they released a blind fanboy edition of their game first before they released the full one.
Probably, I mean, knowing Konami, I know what EA is going to do. EA is going to try and repair their relationship with Nintendo. So they're going to release some half-ass shitty game on Nintendo on the Wii U or the 3DS. Probably on both, but it's going to be like a half-ass game. Like what was that? What was that shitty game that they released? Kind of like how Angry Birds released. Like someone, I think Activision released Angry Birds like a full $60. I'm like, $60 for an Angry Birds game, a game that you can get for free on your phone.
Joking, man.
Why?
But, I mean, EA, I expect that EA will probably reveal games because I won't front. EA has good developers. It's just EA as a company
It's
just has,
foul.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
They buy good studios.
I expect them to reveal some good games, but those games will be ruined by microtransactions and on this DLC.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and bull shots that turn out to be nowhere near as good looking as when the game is properly revealed.
well, I hate to say this. I know some people are gonna get mad at me, but my girlfriend, um, she pre-ordered what was Jesus Dragon Age Inquisition for me, the special edition. So, and, like, I know I talk a lot of shit about EA, but I really want this game because apparently they're going back to the way the stuff used to be, to the way the original Dragon Age was, and not trying to make it so casual that no one can enjoy it.
Mhm.
Hopefully, it'll pan out for them because I really like Dragon Age. I like it so much I rebought it because someone destroyed my old disc. So I mean, whatever. But I think EA is going to show some game for the Wii U. I know they're going to show a lot of multiplats for Sony and Microsoft, especially for Sony. So I mean, I know we're going to see the sports games and all that junk. And of course, we all know they're porting over what was that game? Plants vs Zombies 2. And I think they might show some weird change just enough so that they don't get sued by Microsoft. Port of Titanfall. I think they will, because Titanfall didn't do for Microsoft what they thought it was going to do. And I feel almost bad about that, but I'm like, well, look, man, you got in bed with EA. Don't act surprised when you have a scratch and itch.
Exactly.
Because it's EA, man. I mean, look, you'd think after seeing what EA did to Nintendo, the other companies would be like, hey, these people aren't to be trusted, but apparently they
Oh,
think it'll be different with them.
that's just business for you. They feel as if they know if they flash money, they can buy their trust.
You can't buy trust. You have to build it. But
Exactly.
that's just my personal opinion. I could be wrong. So I guess
And then
Ubisoft.
they're the only other ones, really. I mean, I expect Ubisoft to show good games, and I expect them to show a couple new concepts, because one thing I give props to Ubisoft for is that in terms of their games, they try different things. They try different concepts and stuff. The only problem is once the concept is successful, they milk the hell out of it.
Yeah,
I'm looking at
they're like
you.
Activision with titles. Except it's in some ways it's worse with Activision. I expect Ubisoft's going to show their umpteenth the umpteenth Assassin's Creed game, because everyone just loves Assassin's Creed apparently.
No one gets bored of that overly milked franchise.
Yeah, they're gonna announce a sequel to Watch Dogs at this E3. I just feel it in my bones, because I think they sold enough to make it worth their while.
Well, basically, we're going to get 2 Assassin's Creeds announced for this year, and then we're going to hear a week later that Ubisoft is already working on the next 3.
I am so tired. I am so tired of this franchise at this point. Assassin's Creed, I mean. At this, I mean, I think they're just going to have to. I think they're just going to show it and do what they have to do. But
But I do think they'll show at least 2 new IPs that are built around original concepts and stuff, or original concepts for Ubisoft, because I have to give it to them. They are good when it comes to doing that. I mean, no one really expected The Crew or The Division from Ubisoft.
Yeah, I'll tell you the truth. I think they're going to show those games. They're going to be closer to completion. I hope they show some Beyond Good and Evil 2. Because there hasn't been a Ubisoft game I've truly enjoyed since the original Beyond Good and Evil. Assassin's Creed is just boring to me. I mean, it's like the main storyline is very, it's like a series of fetch quests and follow this guy right here, and press this button to quick time assassinate him, and then like the rest of the game is just go over here, tear down these posters, go over here, fight this guy. I mean, it's this wide open world with nothing. It's a lot of nothing. Like, here's the thing. Like, GTA has a lot of nothing, but you could never touch the main storyline in a GTA game and have so much stuff to do that it's fun in that regards. But Assassin's Creed is like the anti-GTA in that regard. But that's just my own personal opinion.
No, I just think Assassin's Creed there's just no depth to it. I mean, everything's just surface level. There's no depth to anything that you're doing, and that's what makes it very repetitive and boring.
Yeah, like I played the first Assassin's Creed. I played the second one. I didn't play Brotherhood, but I heard it's just more of 2. Although, like, the main character is a little bit older. I played Assassin's Creed 3. I had it, and then I traded in because I was like, fuck this game. I played it, I beat it, found everything. I was like, this game is just not, no. Then I played Assassin's Creed 4, didn't buy it, played it. I was like,
after Assassin, I mean, I did see an interest in Assassin's Creed 4, but then I just couldn't be bothered. I was actually going to buy it when I saw it on sale, but then the sale ended, and I was not buying that game at full price. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's not worth $60. I mean, that's a $40 game at most. I'm sorry.
I had Assassin's Creed 1 and 2 on PC, which I acquired by I acquired by some
special means.
By some well-known but not necessarily conventional methods.
You're a university student, right?
Yeah.
I can appreciate it. I was there. I've been there. I mean, look, you do not always have like hundreds of. People just don't have $60, $70, $80 just lying around, to put down on a game. I mean, I know pounds is slightly different, but still, I mean, people don't just have that type of money just to lay down on something all the time.
Exactly, and plus I want to get my money's worth, so
exactly.
A lot of these games which I see come out, I just don't see them being worth my money.
Exactly. But speaking,
I wouldn't. Half of these third-party games, I would not get them unless they were on sale.
Yeah. Speaking, I mean, I don't know. Like, do you have any third-party games you're really looking forward to on the to purchasing?
Sonic Boom.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that too.
That looks Sonic Boom looks very, very good. I want to see how Watch Dogs turns out for the Wii U.
Yeah, I really want to get Watch Dogs, but I'm gonna be frank with you. If Rockstar, I know this is a long shot. If Rockstar announces GTA 5 ported over to the Wii U, or a new sandbox open world style game from Rockstar Vancouver, because they did Bully for the Wii U, I'm not getting Watch Dogs. I'm sorry, because I mean. People keep on saying they really polished up Watch Dogs. No. No. That game wasn't delayed for polishing. That game was delayed to get it as far away from GTA 5 as humanly possible and still
the
turn
Wii
a
U
profit.
version was delayed to get as far away from Mario Kart 8 as possible.
Yeah.
Let me see, is there any... What other third-party game can I say I'm looking forward to? I think that's it, to be honest. I mean, actually, that Cayman Riders look interesting. That one by Namco, Cayman Riders.
Really?
That looks quite interesting, and I'm looking forward to the new. When you say third-party games, do you mean like just only next gen?
Indies count.
Well, I'm not even going to get started on indies because there's loads of indie games I'm looking forward to. But
Yeah.
I mean, like in terms of like why I want to get a PS3, I'm looking for. I'm looking forward to in terms of what I want to get on the PS3, I'm looking forward to the new Tales game that's coming out.
Well, I mean, look, if that's what you like, that's what you like. You know, me, I am not looking. The only reason I'm not looking for Tales is because I get a lot of Steam stuff. Because I own a business that's about video games, so they send me. I get all types of stuff in the mail, and like I'm like, man, I can get that on Steam.
Tales comes on Steam.
If it's you mean you mean the games where you like it's an adventure game and you choose well I don't think it's on Steam but it'll probably be on Steam.
Like Tales of Symphonia, Tales of the Abyss, Tales of Xenia.
When you said Tales, I thought you meant when you said Tales, I thought you meant like those Tales of the Wolf, Jurassic Park.
No! I'm
getting that. Yeah, I'm getting that Tales game. I'm totally getting that Tales game.
Yeah, so because
that's the only reason I have my PS3 so that I can play the Tales game in Persona 5. And if Sega ever gets their shit together and releases Yakuza 5, I'm because Yakuza, if they bring that game over, Nintendo were smart. They'd money had that game getting localized, publish it in the U.S. for the Wii U, just to add to their stable of games.
They're already full stable of games.
Yeah, but it never hurts to have an extra, and
not
everyone. I want to play a game where I get to smash a bicycle on someone's head and jump on it. Which I know you're getting a PS3. If you get a chance and go to like a place or find it on sale, get Yakuza 3 or 4. You're in for a treat.
Okay, carry on.
The controls are a little awkward, but what it has in awkwardness, it makes up for in just sheer, like, if you like arcade beat 'em ups, but you want one set for a more modern age, Yakuza is what you want.
Okay, I'll definitely keep that in mind then. I'll probably won't be getting my PS3 till sometime close to the end of the year, but yeah, I'll definitely keep that in mind. But other than that, I'm not really looking. Third party hasn't really shown anything impressive to me. Like, this is probably the worst I've seen third party in a long time.
Well, I mean, the thing is like third parties don't want to take a gamble because they have to answer to investors and such, and they're like, there's no way in the world that we're going to, we can't lose money. But the thing is like in life, just like business, because I mean, I'm small business. You have to take risk. You know, I mean, that's what Activision doesn't understand about a lot of their games, that they just they don't want to take a risk, which is why I'm shocked that they are spending like $500 million
on Destiny.
on Destiny. I mean, they have to put that on everything.
Actually, that's a game I'm quite looking forward to. Destiny looks quite interesting, but even so, the $500 million budget, that was extreme. But carry on.
I'm telling you, they're going to have to, those people are going to have to put that on every damn thing in order to turn a profit. They can't afford not to.
Exactly.
They can't afford not to.
So fingers crossed, we may still see it on the Wii U.
Yeah, maybe. On that note, I have some viewer-submitted questions we can do, and then we can wrap this up. That sound good?
Go ahead.
Okay, the first one is from a guy named Pink Rudy, and it's, is Kaz Hirai a game programmer originally? Maybe that's why he is running Sony into the ground.
I couldn't tell you. I don't know.
I don't think. I think he started as like an engineer at Sony. I tell you what I think about. I think that Kaz Hirai is the wrong CEO to have for what Sony's going through right now. Like, because the thing is like Kaz Hirai is trying to balance. He's trying to balance like Sony's reputation with Sony's bank account. And the thing is like
they
when your
don't
money's short, yeah, when your money's short and what you're trying to put your public face, like I don't think Nintendo is gonna like. I don't think any company, like no business, can afford to front and float expenses when their bank account can't.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're not going to spend yourself into debt just to keep up appearances, which is what Sony did for 20-something years, which is why they're having the case where they are now, because Sony hasn't been at the forefront of even their own industry, electronics, for 15 years.
Exactly. You know.
So, you know.
It's a typical Western mentality, and it's, you know, a lot of it stems from Britain, which I'm ashamed to say, as it's where I'm born and raised. A lot of it stems from Britain, where, you know, the image is the most important thing, you know,
yeah.
And that's the mentality that Sony has. They're more concerned about, you know, they're basically, let me tell you what a problem we have with a lot of young people in England. You know, they are so concerned about having the latest and most expensive clothes just because it makes them look good, despite the fact that you know, and they show off with them and say, yeah, these are the clothes I have. I've got G-Star, I've got Armani, I've got Ralph Lauren and this, that. But they're still living at their mum's house, and they're still buying, and they're still just about can afford McDonald's.
Well, you know, we've got that here in America. It's called styling and profiling.
And that's basically what Sony are like right now.
Yeah, they're styling and profiling, but Sony is selling buildings. Literally, like they have a pot to pee in, but that pot's getting holes in it, and they sold the building, so they don't have a window to throw it out of. So I mean, you know, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what the, you know, I don't think Kaz Hirai is the right CEO for what's going on in Sony. I don't think he's the right person to be.
They need someone that's in Sony that is more focused on bringing the company to profitability instead of focusing on their image.
Yeah, they need someone who's going to say, you know, this stuff isn't making money. It's got to go.
Because you know what? No matter how much people dog on Nintendo, they're still making money.
Exactly. I mean, the Wii U just went back to profitability, which means Nintendo is making money. So, I mean, you know, I mean, I know some people get mad when you say that. They're like, oh, how can you say that? Quite easily, I can say that.
Nintendo are like the people who live the basic and casual lifestyle of your average person, when really and truly behind all that, they're billionaires.
Exactly. I mean, Nintendo always spends money like it's deer. So basically, even when things are going, things are going well, they're making huge amounts of money. They're like, look, we'll go out to a pizza joint. You can order 2 sodas instead of just 1. We'll call it a day. But let's move on to the next question. Do you think Sony? Do you think they should drop the Vita? Honestly, I say they should because that thing is not doing so well against the 3DS. And Nintendo's been king of the handheld market for quite some time. I don't see the Vita lasting much longer.
Quite some time. They've been king of the handheld market since forever.
Well, they created the handheld market, so not only are they king, look, they created it. They're the gods.
They're judge, jury, and executioner.
I mean, and here's the thing: Sony, people who are fans of Sony will say, "Well, Sony made a profit off of the PSP." I'm like, yeah, but they sold what 33 million PSPs compared to 150 million DSs.
They sold more than 33 million. They sold about
50 million.
They sold 70-something million overall.
Oh, well, still, it's 2 to 1, basically. And not to mention the PSP was like the most heavily pirated handheld.
It had one of the worst attach rates in the history of gaming.
So they lost huge amounts of money on it. But, Sony.
Sony can do no wrong.
So I guess the next one will be, do you think that they will not do anything of those measures and they will still go bankrupt? Okay. This is from Mario TGP.
Yeah, I know who that is.
Yeah, So I mean, I guess. Do you think Sony's going to go bankrupt?
It depends. It depends. Either 2 things are going to happen. Either Kaz Hirai is going to somehow magically convince those investors to still have faith in Sony until the point where they do actually go bankrupt. I think there's a slim chance of that happening, but I am not a person who puts an absolute on anything, so it is possible. Or the more likely thing that will happen is that the investors will take control of the direction. The investors will take control of the direction of Sony. In which case, if that happens, we're probably gonna lose the PlayStation. You're gonna see Sony shrink down to a much smaller conglomerate than they already are.
Yeah.
We're gonna see them lose the PlayStation.
Yeah.
Because that's the thing that's bleeding the most money.
Yeah.
And we're going to see Kaz Hirai get ripped to shreds.
Yeah, they're going to get fired. I mean, a lot of people are going to get fired. They're going to lose a lot more buildings. A lot of businesses, a lot of divisions might just be like cut off completely. Mm-hmm. So I mean, I don't see.
Sony hasn't got a bright future.
No, either way, it's not going to look good, and people need to stop sticking their head in the sand and ignoring it.
Because they don't realize that they're actually part of the problem.
Exactly. So I guess we'll go to the next question. Have you read the latest about the Xbox One? Apparently it's getting a lot of exclusive Japanese support with their launch in Japan. They plan on not making the same mistake as last gen by having games that also appeal to Japanese people. What does this mean for the Xbox brand? Does this mean that we the consumer, have the control now? Whatever we want, they will do it. I guess that's also a question too.
No, it just means that in a last-ditch attempt to actually make the Xbox brand mean something in Japan, they are going to try and accommodate Japan, seeing as Sony seems to be failing to do that. So Microsoft are going to try and creep in there and take advantage of that. But at the end of the day, it's just the Xbox name has just got such a bad stigma in Japan. I can't see how I cannot see how Xbox can really make. I can't see how Xbox will ever make its mark in Japan. Nintendo basically dominate all of Japan. If you think about the market share that Nintendo have in Japan, it's like 99% to 1% between Sony and Microsoft right now.
Basically.
So
I guess I'll answer it. Basically, as someone who spent time in Japan and talked with Japanese gamers and stuff like that, I can tell you right now, no. When Microsoft released the Xbox 360 and it had the red ring of death, that was the nail in the coffin for Microsoft's gaming console. Because I'm gonna tell you something about Japanese gamers. They are frugal. They want, when they buy something, they want that shit to work for years after they get it. You know, they're like, I know people. I have a friend in Japan. He has a Model 1 PS1, and that thing is held together with duct tape and wires, but it still generally works. and you know, I mean, those people want their money's worth. And you know, like here in America, people brag, in other countries bragging about, I bought 3 Xbox 360s. Look, let a Japanese person have to buy 1 extra PS3. It's done, because the thing broke. It's done. It's done.
That's why Nintendo does so well in Japan, because when you get your first Nintendo console, you know that's the one you're gonna have for life.
Yeah, I mean, you know, I look, I still have all of my SNESs, all of my NESs, all of my I have 2 GameCubes, all my 1 N64, my Wii, well, clearly the Wii U is current gen, but still, I mean, I have all my old Game Boy, my old Nintendo handhelds. I've had to go through 2 or 3 Ataris. I've had to go through 2 or 3 Sega Nomads, which is odd, because that was made in Japan, but oh well. Can't have everything.
Nope. You know, I mean, you know, like I said, it's the brand name of Xbox just doesn't bode well in Japan. I mean, when you think about it, they've had some pretty decent Japanese support on the Xbox 360, and the Xbox 360 still couldn't make its mark in Japan.
No, I'm telling you, when they had the red ring of death, that was the end. That was the death note for the Xbox, because basically they saw that it, like, here's the thing. In Japan, they look at American brands kind of like how we look at, like, in America at Chinese brands, made in China. A piece of garbage, you know. It fell apart after 2 days. Piece of garbage. Like, that's how they look at American brands. And when you have an American brand actually living up to that moniker, that was the end. That was the end of that console. That was the end of that console doing anything in Japan. So here's the final question. Nintendo and Sony should cut the BS, get together, and build what they were supposed to build back when. Most people will disagree because they are either extreme pro-Sony or extreme pro-Nintendo or extreme anti-both, LOL. I, on the other hand, wouldn't mind seeing that come true. One can dream, can't they? This is from Nintendo Power. You have any thoughts on that?
I think Sony should go back to do what they were originally doing when they were in partnership with Nintendo. Just make the sound chips.
That was an awesome sound chip, too.
That's all I'm going to say to that question. Go back to when Nintendo and Sony were originally partners, and Sony, just make the sound chips.
Well, I'm not going to go that far. I think Sony was at their best when they were competing against Nintendo. When they were making those quirky games that you couldn't get on a Nintendo console, and they had their own stuff, they were at their best. When Sony started competing against Microsoft and trying to out-dude bro the dude bro
of all dude bros.
Of all dude bros, they failed because Microsoft, the Xbox was designed by Western developers for Western developers for a Western audience. That's what it was designed for.
Basically, the Xbox was basically meant to be the Xbox was meant to be the PC that you didn't have to build.
Exactly. I mean, and it was designed to be the game. It's got games that appeal to a Western audience. It's not really for JRPGs. It's got Western audience RPGs like Mass Effect and Neverwinter Nights and Jade Empire. These were made by BioWare when they had their exclusivity agreements with Microsoft. You know, it's got games from Western developers, and you know, the Western developers need a home too. Okay, not Nintendo and Sony aren't for everyone. I understand that, but
well, this is why last podcast I say there's a harmony between Microsoft and Nintendo, and that's why with the two of them in the business, it can work.
Yeah.
But Sony is just like at this moment just stuck in the middle, trying to just keep up with everyone, and that's why that is the reason why I say Sony should just go back to when they were partners with Nintendo and just make the sound chips. Because right now Sony isn't really doing anything for anyone.
Well, I won't say that. I will say this.
Apart from the raging fanboys who like to go on Playroom.
Yeah, I will say this. Sony could, if they were smart, and this is if they were smart. If Sony were smart, if I were Sony, I would become the RPG console again. Well, no,
Yes.
they can't become the RPG console again because Nintendo is becoming the RPG console again with their handhelds. But I mean, I would become like the RPG console again because I mean, RPG players are a niche audience, but they are a steady niche audience. It's a worthwhile audience to tap.
Exactly. Put it this way, like unlike games like Call of Duty, which are fashion trends, RPG games are for those who basically they see RPG gaming not as a trend but a culture.
Yeah.
And they will stick with that culture until their dying days.
Plus, RPGs are budget friendly. I mean, you spend $60, $50 on an RPG, you're getting hundreds of hours of gameplay.
Exactly.
You play $60 on Call of Duty or Battlefield, even Halo, you're getting maybe of actual single-player content, maybe if you're lucky, 5, 6, 7, 8 hours. If you're talking about a game like let's see, if you're talking about Borderlands or something like that, you're getting hundreds of hours. But I mean, if you're talking about the multiplayer, you're still not getting a huge amount of time because you're talking about little matches, and if the network goes down, you're screwed.
Exactly. And you got to bear in mind is that an hour and a half to 2 hours of those 5 to 6 hours is just cutscenes.
Exactly. But so I think Sony should just go back to what they did best, and try and compete against Nintendo. Because I mean, they've been trying. They tried with the PS Move, but that was just sad. So I just think that they should do the best they can, and we'll see. So I think overall, that's the last of the questions. I think this was a pretty darn good podcast. I guess we'll close it out with you want to go first?
Yeah. If you haven't got Mario Kart now, buy it now and get on that hype. And as always, I always say, play your games, enjoy your games, and just have fun.
I will also agree with that. Play your games. And add a caveat to Mario Kart 8. Get it before the end of June, and you can get a free game. So, yeah. So think about that. You get one of the other bundles, and buy Mario Kart 8, you get a free game. So that's like 3 games for the price of 2. That's a pretty good price.
And you get to spam YouTube with your race highlights.
Exactly. So many people, so many race highlights. It's not even funny. So this is Mr. Red Fox signing off. Stay tuned for coverage of post E3 because I'm not doing jack during E3.
I will be doing some reaction videos.
I'm gonna have to pick up my face from off the floor.
well, with Sony's conference, I'll probably do a reaction video, but it'll basically just be me in my bed sleeping.
Yeah, I'm so tired. Why do these people keep on making the same game? No. So I mean, I don't know. But anyway, that's the end of this podcast, and everyone have a good day.